Okay, well, welcome back to 3D Sportscast. And in our last video, we talked about and went over our preseason playoff predictions. And now in this video, we're going to be doing our playoff predictions with the current playoff brackets as Wild Card Weekend is coming up, which is crazy we're already that far, but it's exciting. Well, this is where the real football, it's win or go home now.
Yes, it'll be great. The Commanders are going.
Both of our teams are in, so
it's great. They could be in the Super Bowl.
We'll see. Probably not, but
you never know.
You're saying there's a chance.
There's a chance. There's a chance.
So, I guess we can start with the AFC if you want.
Yeah, okay.
The Chiefs obviously have the bye, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, they make it past the wild card round.
Non-existent wild card game.
So the first matchup is the Texans-Chargers,
which is a 4-5 matchup.
It is. That's going to be a good game.
It's going to be at Houston.
And even though it's at Houston with the injuries and stuff that they're dealing with, I'm going to go with the Chargers. I just feel like Herbert's been on a roll the last couple of weeks. Harbaugh's finally back in action there, coaching for the LA Chargers. I just think he's going to do a good job, and it would also be kind of neat, first year back. He's
as an Ohio State fan, as much as I want to hate on Harbaugh, like his record as far as like coming in,
it's impressive
onto teams, whether college or NFL, and the first season turning them around is impressive. So
it is very impressive.
And another interesting thing about the Texans, real quick, I saw that every single wild card game that they've played in their franchise history has been the Saturday 3:30 game, which is really weird.
Time it's nuts
for like the last 10, every time,
which is extremely weird.
Yeah.
But either way, that's the Texans' wild card slot, I guess. But I agree with you. Despite the Texans being the division winner hosting this game, I just think they're too beat up.
Yeah. I do think healthy the Texans probably win the game, but with the injuries that they have,
I agree.
And they've really been struggling this latter part of the year, I'm going Chargers.
I completely agree with that. And I think, again, take nothing away from what the Texans are, what they've done, CJ Stroud. It's just all the weapons are, Diggs is out, Dell's out. Yeah. I mean, that's the top two receivers on the team gone. So
that's big.
The offensive line hasn't played great at all.
Well, and Stroud really hasn't been playing good the second half of the season again because
that's due to his offensive line and the weapons gone. Yes.
It's got to be getting to him. Going from as good as he did last year to what he is now.
It's sometimes some people, I don't want to call it a sophomore slump, but that has been a thing. But it's I don't think
it's more injuries.
Yeah, I agree. That's what it's not really he's playing bad. It's just. He's playing as well as he can for the situation around him. He's just not in a good situation right now. So I go Chargers too.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. Go with the Chargers as well. I feel like along with the Texans' injuries, they've been just kind of on a down slump.
Yep.
Whereas the Chargers have kind of been
getting hot.
The momentum going the last several weeks. So yeah, I agree. Chargers.
Yeah. So then that brings us to our second wild card matchup between the Ravens and Steelers.
A divisional game.
This
is their third time.
Is known. I think they split the season series on the year.
And the Steelers, as bad as they've been playing going into the playoffs,
really well
against the Ravens. Lamar has always struggled against Pittsburgh.
He always has.
And so that'll be interesting.
That being said, with the struggles, a playoff game on the road, I don't see the Steelers winning that. I just not with the weapons they have. Tomlin's a good coach.
Yeah.
But regular season wins one.
And again, they have not been. They have not been playing good.
No, they've been on a slump this latter part of the season.
Yes.
I'm going Ravens.
Well, then a lot of the time too, where Lamar struggled against the Steelers is he hasn't had Henry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
this year.
Yeah. Well, and the reason why they lost that first matchup in Pittsburgh was, remember, it was a lowest scoring game for the Ravens, and because the Steelers didn't even score a touchdown.
No, it was field goals.
It was Justin Tucker missed, which he's a great kicker, but he missed how many field goals? That was the difference in the game.
Yeah, it was.
So as much as I would love the Steelers to win this one, because I don't want my Bills to have to play the Ravens, I agree with you. I just think I think it could be closer than people think, and I think the Steelers, being a divisional opponent, always playing the Ravens tough, could be an interesting game, but I just think the Ravens are got too much.
They're just too good.
And I don't think
the
Steelers have not shown me enough recently to have faith in them either. So
yep, I totally agree with that too. Ravens. So
okay, well
and that brings it on to the final wild card matchup between the 2-seed Bills and the 7-seed Broncos.
Well,
as much as I like the Broncos, I just do not see
going to Buffalo as a rookie.
Beating
it's gonna
Buffalo
be
in Buffalo.
And I think actually, again, this is another game that could be a closer game than people think. I think the Broncos
Yeah.
will actually make it a decent game.
I think so too.
and a lot
But
of
They have a bright future ahead of them too.
Well, a lot of
Yeah.
people too are focusing on last week, like, oh, the Bills have a tough time because they like blew out the Chiefs. It's like,
yeah, it's like
They
when
played the
were
Chiefs
sitting
back. They played the Chiefs
everyone-
backups.
you can't really.
Well,
Yeah.
and
compare
not
that.
counting that game, the Broncos I think have only beaten one other playoff team
Yeah.
all year.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, again, it was the Chiefs. Credit to them, they got in.
A lot of it's due to their strength of schedule.
And as we said, well, and they do play a decent division. They play the Chiefs twice a year.
That's
They play
true.
the Chargers.
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess.
and
But-
again, if you want to watch our last video, Dominic did pick them
I
as a
did
wild
pick
card
them
team.
as a
So,
wild card team.
great pick by you. But again, great season for the Broncos. The last time they were in the playoffs was when
Yeah.
they won the Super Bowl 50 with Peyton Manning when he retired. Von Miller, actually playing is on our Bills now,
Yeah.
got the MVP of that Super Bowl. He's now playing against his old
So-
team in their first game back. But
Yeah,
I just
so-
think the Bills would be too much.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So we all actually picked the
The
exact
AFC
Yeah,
the
we
same.
did.
So,
that
that
would mean the
means
Chargers and Chiefs are
Yeah.
playing,
and then the Bills or
and
Ravens.
the Bills Ravens.
Which is crazy because Chargers and Chiefs as a divisional matchup game, and then Bills and Ravens. The Ravens beat us this year, but that's going to be a heck of a game.
good
The
Yeah.
top two MVP candidates going
Yeah.
against each other, and that game will be in Buffalo. When we played them earlier in the season, that was at Baltimore, so it'll be interesting.
Probably finish up the AFC bracket.
Yeah, we can finish out the
Yeah.
AFC if you want
We'll
to.
do that,
Sure.
and then we'll go to the NFC.
Yeah.
So first
Chiefs,
matchup,
Chargers.
Chiefs Chargers.
Ooh. Wow.
I don't know. So it's in Arrowhead. Obviously,
Yes.
that's one thing. Pat Mahomes is always good in the playoffs.
But the Chargers, I
The
always give
Chiefs
them a
have
good game.
not been
That
playing
too.
very well.
That too.
Their defense looked.
You
I
never
mean,
know
as
what
much
you're
as
gonna
they want to say that Mahomes, being out and some of their starters being out, they still played most of their defensive starters
Mhm.
and got lit up.
Well,
by
and
opponents.
here's another thing with the Chiefs. The starters that they did rest, the last time they played was Christmas
Yeah.
Day. So they had an extra long week off
And now
that
they
week.
have a bye.
Then they had
And
rest
the
the starters
playoffs.
this week, and then they're
They're gonna be
almost
They haven't
3
played
weeks
football
in like almost a month.
That's true.
So
that being said, I think that this is going to be the Chargers' year. Justin Herbert, I'm going Chargers.
you know what? As much
Also,
as I know the
don't
Chiefs
like the Chiefs.
will be the favorite, I may be a little bit biased because I don't like the Chiefs too. I think I'm going I just think they
I
haven't
got a
been playing that well.
gut feeling about it. And
They
the
haven't-
Chargers have been on a hot streak.
They're a divisional opponent. They know them well. And the thing is, like we just said, the Chiefs are going to be rusty. They have not played their starters
Yeah.
since Christmas. So I think I'm going to go Chargers as well. I know that's going to be an upset, but
I
upsets happen. That's what makes sports
Yeah.
great.
agree with everything that you're saying, and as much as I don't want to do this, I do think I may still pick the Chiefs, just because of their
Just
good
because it has
resume
to
in
be
the
right
playoffs.
when we're wrong.
And trust me, not to spoil anything,
I pick with my
but
heart.
this win is not going to mean anything because it's not
They'll
gonna
lose to the
last
Bills.
long.
They'll lose to the Bills.
It doesn't matter. So.
Yeah, well, the next matchup,
Ravens and Bills.
Ravens-Bills
Oh my.
at Buffalo.
That'll
This
be.
is going to be a crazy game.
And I'll say, as a Bills fan, this is the game that worries me the most.
Well,
Yeah,
the
I would
Ravens-
be more
well,
worried about this game than
Then the
playing
Chiefs. I am too. I am
In
too.
the regular season, the Ravens beat us by a lot.
And we beat the
Like,
Chiefs.
20
So
years
the
ago.
Ravens are the team that's well, the thing is, we lost what?
Thing is, the Ravens.
4 games. We lost one with our backups
Yeah.
the last game, and then the 2 other games we
Barely
lost
lost.
barely.
This was
The
the
Ravens
only
were the only
blowout.
bad loss
Well,
of
the
the
thing
year.
is, the Ravens are one of those teams where they can play amazingly, or they just kind of drop the ball.
Well, and I'll say this too about as good as Lamar is, and I'm not going to hate on Lamar. He always, I mean, people have ripped on Josh Allen for, we can't win big games in the playoffs. Our team has struggled winning big games in the playoffs, but Josh Allen always comes to perform.
Yeah.
Lamar, as good as he is, what are you going to get out of
Yeah.
Lamar?
I think the thing is, though, now,
Derrick Henry,
now
though-
you don't need him. to
Yes,
step
that's
up
the
as
thing.
much
Having
because
Henry
you
now
have
is a
Henry.
difference. So, Josh Allen's going to come and play. The thing is,
The
can
only
our
thing-
defense stop
that's
Henry?
what I'm worried about. I don't know if I trust the Bills' defense to stop
And-
Lamar on the ground and
Yes, and as a
Contain
Bills
Henry.
fan, that's the thing
Well,
I'm
and
worried
the-
about too.
Because the Bills' rush defense
Has
has
been
been
our
pretty
weakness,
poor
yes.
this season.
Yeah.
So.
And when you have Derrick Henry, we've always, even when he was in Tennessee, struggled stopping
Yeah.
Henry. And then Lamar with it, not even passing, but just his rushing
Yeah.
ability. That is tough.
well, and
Yeah.
this has been, I think, one of his better years passing as well because now
Due to
they
that,
have
yeah.
to watch
Mhm.
on the ground for Henry.
Well, and again, like I just said, Josh Allen always plays, but the thing that's always let the Bills down in the playoffs is their defense.
Yeah.
Like the defense is what lets.
I'm going
lets us
Ravens.
down.
I'm picking
And
Ravens.
as a Bills fan, despite of what I just said, I think Josh Allen's gonna come to play. And like for instance, we beat the Lions this year. Our defense did not play great at all.
It's just
but
the
Josh
offensive
Allen
battle,
scored
man.
so much that we
Carries
still
the team on his
won.
back.
And I think that's what's gonna have to happen. I think he can do it. Now, Willie,
I
we'll
think
see.
that's the thing. Josh Allen is going to have one of his best playoff games
Yes.
of his career to beat the Ravens.
And I do think it does make a difference too that this game is being played in Buffalo. That does help us.
It definitely does,
Yeah.
especially the time of year that
Yes.
it is, because it's going to be cold. Now, not that the Ravens are familiar with that. Being in Baltimore, it's not exactly
Yeah.
warm.
No, but it's Buffalo is
Yeah.
weather is Buffalo weather. So no, I think it'll be a great game. As I said, it's the game that worries me the most. But I am a loyal fan. Go Bills! I'm picking my Bills to win that one. I think
Yeah.
it's gonna be. I mean, that could go either way though.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm obviously picking the Bills too.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be, like you said, a very close game. Kind of worries me a little bit,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna hope.
well, hopefully, the Steelers just knocks him out in the wild card
Yeah,
round.
Yeah,
Don't
that'd
worry
be
about
way
it.
easier.
But I'm not putting
Well,
my faith
again,
in that at
because
all.
I
My
think,
bracket
you know-
can be busted. All that.
Because
Yeah.
if that happened, we'd play the winner of the Texans Chargers game,
Well,
and the Steelers would play the Chiefs.
let's just put
but
it this way: if I was going to pick the Bills, they were going to make it to the Super Bowl.
You think whoever's winning that game is
Whoever's
making it to the
winning
Super
that
Bowl,
game between the
And
Ravens
I agree.
and
I
Bills,
I
is
agree with
making the
that.
Super Bowl.
I agree with that.
So,
Wow.
and then my
That kind of is the
matchup.
AFC Championship in a
Well,
way.
so my AFC Championship is different than your guys'. I've got the Ravens, Chargers.
Actually, all of our AFC championships are different because I got Chargers, Bills, and he's got Chiefs, Bills.
So between mine, I've got Ravens, Chargers. As good as I think the Chargers are going to do in the playoffs, I don't think they're going to be able to get past the Ravens. I think you got that two-headed monster
Yeah.
in Derrick Henry and
And
Lamar
if
Jackson.
that
I'm
is
going
the
Ravens.
matchup, that game would be in Baltimore then.
It
too.
would be, and that's even bigger. I mean, a home playoff game,
Yeah.
they haven't made it that far, and
Well, actually,
I don't think.
last year they hosted the AFC Championship against the Chiefs and lost.
Oh yeah, I forgot they
Yeah,
played them.
they were there
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
But they lost to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. So,
Mhm.
but no, I think this is the year you finally, if that's the case too, you get past the Bills and Chiefs, hosting again. I think you correct your wrongs from last year and.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I agree with
mean,
that.
And again, like I said, the Bills-Ravens game. If the Bills win it, I think the Bills are making the Super Bowl. But if the Ravens win, they're making the Super Bowl.
And I would have to honestly agree with that too. Hopefully we beat the Ravens, but yeah. So mine is the same matchup except I picked Buffalo, so that game would be in Buffalo. Buffalo and the Chargers. I just think if we get past the Ravens, like you said, we're not losing to the Chargers. And so congratulations. If the Chargers make it that far, that's a heck of a year for them. But they're not coming in.
First year coaching,
And they would have knocked out the
like,
Chiefs too if that happens. They're not coming into Buffalo and beating us, especially if we come off a win against the Ravens. And we're heading to the Super Bowl if that happens. So
Yeah, and then my matchup's the Chief Bills.
that would be at Kansas
Yes.
City if that happens.
That too. But even with that, I don't think it matters. Actually, out of all the options, I still think that's probably the easiest matchup for the
Yeah,
Bills.
because
And part
we
of why
know
I
we can
picked
beat
it-
them.
Yeah.
We know we can beat them.
Because I want a domination in the AFC Championship. That would be great. Get revenge
Also,
on the Chiefs.
also, if we had the only two real losses for the Chiefs all year,
That
that
would
would
be
be
great, too.
awesome.
So, Bills by 40.
Bills by 40. listen
There you
to
go.
listen to a Bills by
Well,
40.
it was Bills by 40 when we played the Jets. But
Yeah.
I don't care.
no, we are. I hope.
Oh, that's so
That
funny.
actually, I would love the Chargers to beat the Chiefs, but I actually would kind of like that to happen too. If
I
we
know.
were the team that kept the Chiefs from another Super Bowl,
It's a
We'll see how it
it's a
plays
great
out, but-
situation.
either way, that's so you picked the
Yeah.
Ravens and we
So
both
I've got
picked the
the
Bills,
Ravens. So
surprisingly, to
Yeah,
make
yeah.
the Super Bowl
Yeah.
So
in the AFC. And
anyway,
so,
moving on to the NFC, obviously the Lions have a bye, so they
Yeah.
automatically make it.
Yep.
The first wildcard game is in the Rams and the Vikings.
and this game is
This
interesting.
Is an interesting
And
game.
I'll say this before we make our picks. So the Rams going into last week actually had the 3 seed,
They did.
and they sat their starters against the Seahawks, lost and moved down to the 4 seed.
Well,
some people
the
are-
thing is, they're saying they didn't want to play
Yes,
the Commanders.
and this is what I was gonna say. Some people are questioning that logic, but here's my thought. One, the Vikings, while being a 5 seed, which is crazy with 14 wins because the Lions
That
won
is
that division.
insane.
Mhm.
They only had 3 losses all year. Two were to the Lions twice, both times. The other loss the Rams.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. The Rams know they can beat the Vikings, whereas the Commanders, I think the legs of Jaden Daniels, I think
scares them.
because going into that game, they knew they would, if they lost and not played the Commanders, they were either playing the Lions or Vikings. As good as they are, both Sam Darnold and Jared Goff are pocket quarterbacks. Jaden Daniels with his legs. So I think that's why they were fine with moving down a spot.
Because of the way their defense works.
They know they can beat the Vikings because they have. And the Lions, the last 2 times they played them, last year in the playoffs, and then I believe they played them at the beginning of this year, they lost, but very close games.
Yeah, well, and the Rams are a playoff hardened team. I mean, they're full of veterans.
Sean McVay is a great coach.
Sean McVay's a fantastic coach. I mean, I like the Vikings. I think Sam Darnold's having a career resurgence.
Yeah, and with winning,
I just can't trust the Vikings.
Well, and with winning the division, this wildcard game's a home game for the Rams too.
Yeah.
So, as good of a game as I think it is, and it sucks as a Vikings fan, or just as good of a season they had to say they're going to lose this early. But I agree. I'm going with the Rams in this one. I think it'll be a great game.
I am too.
But I'm going LA.
I don't know. I didn't have the confidence when seeing the Vikings, even though they were winning, and Sam Darnold played great, especially in that last game against the Lions.
He looked bad against the Lions.
He looked pretty rough, and it was a big game, so I'm kind of
and the Lions have a beat-up defense, too. He just did not look great. So.
I don't know if he'll play good in a, big game
situation.
On the road, yeah.
I don't trust it, so I'm pick Rams.
Yeah, the only way I see the Vikings winning that is if Justin Jefferson can have a playoff surge because he is not. He's really been kind of quiet, at least for Justin Jefferson's standards.
Well, and I almost feel like part of that was
Sam
Darnold either not hitting him, or almost him at times he was trying to force it to him, and it was not there.
And he was overthrowing it.
Yeah, he was. So that's part of it too. But I agree. If Justin, they got Jordan Addison too. They got two good receivers. If they can get going offensively, I can see that going either way. But I just think the Rams. With the Rams, the reason why the Rams even had a slow start to the season was their injuries. Now that they're healthy, you got Kyren Williams at running back and Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua healthy.
Yeah, they have a very good core.
With Stafford as a veteran quarterback.
I just the Rams are the better team there, even fully healthy. Yep. So the next matchup is the Bucs and the Commanders, my team. This is a rematch, the first game of the season, and the Bucs.
Yes, we watched that game together. Actually,
the Bucs have not seen the full throttle Commanders.
Well, and what's interesting is just what I said about Jaden Daniels' legs in that Buccaneers game. He used his legs. It was actually his passing that you could see wasn't there. The trust with his receivers, the first game of the season was not there yet. Now he's got that.
He's
Plus his ability to run, obviously. Because I think he used his, as athletic as he is, he used his legs a lot in that game. And Terry McLaurin, I don't remember how many receptions he had, but it did. Yeah,
it was not good.
But the thing is, the Buccaneers are, like I said, been up and down this year. But when they're on, they can beat anyone.
Very good, they can.
So
Baker's had a great year.
So I'll say, out of all the picks, this is like the wild card. This is the one that I'm actually having the hardest time with because I can see it going either way.
I'm obviously going to go Commanders. I do think we can beat the Bucs. I mean, the teams we have beaten. I mean, we've beaten some very tough teams, and we beat the Eagles. We stopped their 11-game win streak or 10 or no. This year, what was it?
What was it? I don't remember.
It was the longest win streak in the league at the time, and they played a good game too. I mean, quarterback, Eagles.
Oh, Jalen
Hurts got hurt,
and actually, there's still
but
that's the next game, and still they're saying he should play, but he's still not. He has not played in a while, so that'll be interesting to see how he does. But
I'm picking the Commies.
The thing is, I going into last week, it looked like the Rams were going to play the Commanders, which also would have been a good game. But the Buccaneers moved up a spot. If you're the Buccaneers, would you rather play the Vikings or Commanders? I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to see the Commanders in the wild card. The thing is, Buccaneers though, if they can beat anyone if they're playing good, what Buccaneers team are we going to see?
I don't know.
And don't forget too. I remember last year when we did this, you actually picked the Buccaneers.
I picked them to go all the way.
And they actually barely lost to the Lions.
They barely lost to the Lions.
Who I should have been in the Super Bowl last year.
I think the Buccaneers' ceiling is higher, but their floor is lower.
I agree.
The Commanders are more consistent.
I agree.
Yeah.
And for having a rookie quarterback is pretty impressive.
So
which is really funny.
I don't know.
I'm going commies. I'm biased. But.
Well, yeah.
I'll let you still think.
Yeah. This is the one I've been
yeah.
going back and forth on.
I am actually going to agree with Dominic. I'm going to go with Commanders. Now, I do think, even though they have been playing great and Baker's been able to still play amazing with his receivers hurt, I do think that has made them slightly worse in the recent games. And like we said, too, you never know what you're going to get. Commanders are more consistent. Yeah, I'm choosing the Commanders.
Yeah, well, if you remember back in that opening, again, it was the first game of the season, the Buccaneers beat them pretty well, but again, Jaden Daniels wasn't playing.
Well,
I mean, it was his first game.
Not only that, but we also didn't have a kicker.
And the Buccaneers
that kicker
had
that
their
we
full
had in
team.
that game
Yes, that
was
That's true.
fired after the
Yeah.
game.
Well, and the Buccaneers now are actually more depleted since week
and
one.
the Commanders are now. I mean, now you've got Jaden Daniels with chemistry with his receivers.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got Austin Eckler's coming back from
that's
injury.
right.
Marshawn Lattimore's coming back from injury. We're gonna have a full team.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great game. I think just
The only thing that worries me is our starting center is still hurt. He might be coming back. They don't know yet, and he's been out, and you can tell because our O-line has not been as good the last couple
well,
weeks.
and he would be matched up against Vita Vea, which is one of the biggest defensive tackles in the league. So that is a factor there.
He should be back. He's supposed to be back, but he's been out for 2 weeks.
I think I may. I can see it's going either way. I think I'm going to go with the Bucks just because they're at home, and if Baker Mayfield has one of those games,
if he has one of those,
and he does a lot.
Baker games, yeah.
and even then, I think it could. Even then, I think it's going to be close.
350
I think
yards.
this is actually going to be the most exciting wild card game.
I'll be watching it.
Well, I will be too, but I hate to do this. Like I said with the Vikings, as good of a season as they had, I'd hate to do this with the Commanders because they've had such a great. But the thing is, I think their future is phenomenal. I just don't think.
I
just don't think
we have the
you
second
guys
most cap space.
are there yet. So
well, actually third and most now since we have Lattimore.
Well,
but
that's just my opinion. But I could see it going either way.
But then the final wild card, you're talking Eagles Packers.
Eagles Packers.
And this I think is going to be a really good game. The Eagles have been kind of on a downward trend.
And Jalen Hurts hasn't been playing in a while.
Loss to the Commanders.
Both quarterbacks are hurt.
Well, Jordan Love, he will play, but he did get kind of banged up in that last game. He's
That's
not
true.
seriously hurt, but he did get banged
Just-
up.
It could still be a factor.
Yeah, I just think just because of, I mean, I just feel like the Eagles always choke at the end of the year,
Well, they did last year.
and the Packers have been playing really well, even with their backup all year.
Even when Malik Willis has been in, they've been good. But Jordan Love, I think, will play.
And I've got to have at least one upset.
Well, the other thing is, will Jalen Hurts play, which I think he will, but if he does and when he does, how rusty, how good will he, because he's, like you said, the last time he played was when he got hurt at the beginning of that Commanders game several weeks ago.
Yeah,
so,
really beat up.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going Packers. I just think we got an upset.
I just think, despite the QB situation, I just think, kind of like we talk about Derrick Henry with the Ravens, I think Saquon is the difference in this game. And so, as good as the season as Packers had, I could see them having a big upset here. I think I got to go Eagles. So,
yeah, I am going with the Eagles as well.
Wow,
So-
I see how it is.
you could look like a genius though.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a guaranteed win. It's gonna be a good game.
And actually, I would be fine if the Eagles.
Yeah.
Well, I'd be fine with that.
I also am biased.
Yeah.
And don't like the Eagles.
I'd be fine with it. And I'm obviously not as biased as him, but Eagles fans annoy me too. So
Eagles fans are like the most annoying.
They
fans.
are. They really are.
Like they said, the only reason we
and the
beat them.
Cowboys.
They said the only reason that we beat them is because we targeted Jalen Hurts and shoved him into the ground when it was just a tackle.
It was a
He
normal
hit his
tackle.
head on
Yeah.
the dirt, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry that your quarterback
And-
doesn't have his brain is so small that it bangs around in his head and he gets concussions. Can't relate to that.
And I know you say
I can't either.
the run game. The run game with Saquon.
Yeah.
I know you said the run game with Saquon is going to be the difference too, which it very well could be. But I mean, the Packers with Josh Jacobs too. I mean,
That's
he's
true.
a really good running
That
back
is
too.
that. No one's talking about him
No.
that much
No.
either. That's true.
He's kind of under the radar, but he's been really good.
That's a
this
good
season.
point.
Well, the Packers
So-
did make the playoffs last year. It's not like they don't have the experience.
And
Like,
they beat the Cowboys as a
who
wild card
were
team
a
last
good
year.
team last
Yeah.
year. Like,
And they almost beat the 49ers,
Yeah.
who ended up making it to the Super Bowl. So
Yeah,
so I'm going Packers.
yeah. Stick with Eagles, even though I think Packers
Could be a good- yeah.
could be a good upset pick.
So
for you,
then
Oh,
my
Lions,
first round
Packers
is the
would be-
Lions
yeah.
Packers game.
and I
Mine's
would,
Lions
as-
Commanders.
and mine's Lions Rams.
so
So
They're all different.
we all got
Yeah,
different
different.
ones. Yeah,
Wow.
that's crazy.
No. Oh wait, yeah, because you didn't pick Commanders.
No.
to win.
No.
Yeah, so you're
Yeah.
man. Wow,
All
real
different.
original, Drew. You picked all the top seeds.
The funny thing is the only upset I picked in the whole wild card is the Chargers beating the Texans.
Oh, nice. Nice. But anyway, so mine first, Lions Packers. I think the Lions win that one.
Yeah,
I mean, I like the Packers. I do. I think they've got a bright future. Jordan Love's really good. But the Lions, I mean, Dan Cable's just one heck of a coach. Jared Goff is thrown in. I mean, he's been amazing this season. I mean, in a normal year, you'd be talking about an MVP, but we have so many crazy.
yes, that's
like,
true.
Like crazy
Lamar,
once in
Josh
a
Allen.
decade seasons from 4 different
Joe
people.
Burrow.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
Like Joe Burrow, we're not even talking about in the
Yeah.
MVP conversation, and the dude's been lights out.
honestly, if his team, which they were one game away from making the playoffs, would have
Yeah,
he would be right in that conversation.
he most definitely would be.
But
But in that matchup between Lions Packers, I'm going Lions.
so I got Lions Rams, and obviously this is in Detroit. Again, that big trade that happened a few years ago between these teams.
Yeah.
The quarterback Stafford and Goff, you know,
Well,
we've
last
seen this
time
matchup last time.
That matchup was last year.
Yep,
And,
and
they
it was a
booed
Stafford, yeah.
I was like, that's crap.
and it was a really close game, and the Lions did win, but it was a great game. And yeah, for all Stafford did there in Detroit.
Well, and I think, is there still a chance that they get their defensive guy?
Hutchinson. Yeah,
back?
I heard that if he does come back, it's either going to be NFC Championship or Super
Could
Bowl.
you imagine
But,
if he comes back for the Super Bowl?
but that'd
and
be
they get,
insane
like, a
because
sack
the
in
fact
the
that he
Super
even
Bowl?
has a chance of coming back the way
His
he
leg,
snapped
yeah,
like
his leg
snapped
was
his leg in
so
half
bad.
is insane. Actually, I think the difference in this game, if the Rams are playing really well offensively, I think it's going to be an offensive game, to be honest. I think the difference in this game is two things. The Lions' defense, how healthy can they get? They're
Yep,
still beat up.
yep.
And also, Dan Campbell's decision-making as far as, we know he's aggressive and he's risky. Are those going to pay off or are they going to backfire? You know what I mean? Because that's what worries me with the Lions. I love, in one sense, I love that he trusts his team, but in another sense, sometimes it's too much. Because that's honestly what hurt them in the NFC Championship last
Yeah.
year. I think it's going to be, again, last year was the matchup. The Lions barely won. I believe, was it the week one or one of the first weeks of this season they matched up again? Lions barely won.
Yeah. They did win.
I think I'm going to go with the Rams this
You're
time.
going upset,
I think
huh?
I'm going with the Rams.
Wow.
I think they are just hitting their stride at the right time. And I just think, like I said, those two factors with the Lions, with their defense and then just their offensive play calling at times, as good as they are, I think the Rams are going to be playing well enough that their Stafford's finally
I
going to
do
get
think
his
the
revenge on
Rams-
his old team.
Yeah. And honestly, that would be kind of
Yeah.
a cool narrative.
And I'm sorry, Lions fans. Again, that's another team that, as good of a season you got. I know it's Super Bowl or bust for you guys, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
only one team's going to win it all. So
Yeah. I
Okay,
think
so
you might think it's going to be the Bills.
I'm hoping. I'm hoping. Don't spoil
Don't
my.
get-
It's not like I got bills everywhere.
we don't know. So my matchup is the Lions Commanders. I think that's going to be
That could be a
pretty
good game,
interesting
That
too,
game.
could be a good game. The only thing that would scare me in that game is I don't think that we have a good enough defense to prevent because not Stafford.
Goff. Yeah.
is so accurate.
Mm-hmm.
In if we have Lattimore back, I think we have a whole lot better
Well-
shot. If Lattimore is still injured and we don't have him by then, because all we'll have then is Lattimore and then our rookie cornerback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not.
Well, and it's not just
gonna help us.
the
win
thing with
this.
the line that makes the Lions good too is it's not just as good, like you said, as accurate and as good at throwing golf as, but their running game too.
Yeah.
At this point, they may have Montgomery back and then Jameer Gibbs.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
in that
Like,
game
that's
against the
the
Vikings,
thing.
he scored 4. He scored
Yeah.
every touchdown.
Well, and
Yeah.
if Laporta starts acting like
St.
last,
Brown.
yeah,
Jameson Williams, yeah. I mean, the
I
Lions.
I'm not worried about the Commanders' offense against the Lions' defense just because of the injuries they
Yeah.
have and the mobility of
Jane
Jaden Daniels.
Daniels, yeah.
But I am scared of how our defense can hold up against their offense.
I agree with that, and I think that is the main reason why I'm going to go with the Lions. I think
That matchup scares me.
Yeah, yeah. Just like I was saying as a Bills fan, the matchup that scares me is the Ravens.
Yeah.
I think.
If my Commanders are going to make it, and if they play the Lions, they're going to lose the Lions. I think.
Yeah.
I think the power of their offense is going to be too much for the Commanders' defense to overcome. So.
Well, and if you guys somehow do match up with the Lions and beat them, then I'm gonna
It's like, the Commanders might make it to the Super Bowl.
Then I'm gonna really start thinking that the Commanders.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Agree.
Okay, so my next divisional matchup is Buccaneers-Eagles. And if you remember right,
That could be a good game.
that was the wild card game last year, and the Buccaneers. Remember, the Eagles went to the playoffs playing really bad. They
that's right.
choked.
They were on like a
The Buccaneers
5-game
just
skid.
stomped them.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it's gonna be like that this year. I think the Eagles are better, and especially if they beat the Packers in that wild card, they're gonna obviously be coming in with a win. And again, Jalen Hurts should be healthy. But I honestly think if the Buccaneers play good enough to get past the Commanders, I think they can beat the Eagles too. So I think I'm going to pick the Buccaneers in that matchup.
Yeah,
I really
mean,
do.
Between those two, I would definitely favor the Buccaneers, especially
And again-
just because of the Eagles' history of choking.
And again, the Buccaneers were the team that knocked them out of the wild card last year.
Yeah.
In Tampa, that game would be in Philadelphia this time. But
And-
I think I'm still going.
And the Eagles have been playing down the last couple weeks. Again, that started with the loss to the Commanders.
And Jalen Hurts getting
Jalen
hurt.
Hurts not playing,
Yeah.
so that does make a difference. But
Living up to his name.
I mean, I
Hurts
could
is
definitely
hurt.
see that. Yeah, I could definitely see the Bucs
No.
win that matchup.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
And then mine would be the Rams Commanders.
That would be a great game,
That
too.
would be an awesome game. That is going to be a shootout because the thing that I think makes the difference here for me in this one is I think the Commanders' offense is just going to torch the Rams' defense. Where I think, again, if we have Marshawn Lattimore, it's going to make a huge difference because he is a number one cornerback. I mean, he is a Pro Bowler. When he's healthy. Obviously, he's been injured most of the year this year, so he didn't do much. But and then you got Stafford. I think between Stafford and Daniels, I mean, I'm taking Jaden Daniels all day.
I agree with that.
Well,
Well,
now if they're in there, at least at this point right now.
I think Stafford is
Like-
great, but even the Rams at times have been as good as they can be. They've been up and down, kind of like the Buccaneers have been.
And the thing is, with as many weapons as they have,
Well, and that's kind of the thing with my
if
picks.
they can play good, they would beat the Commanders.
With my picks, I'm just hoping that the Rams and Buccaneers are on the playing at their top of their potential because they can be up and down. And I agree with you as far as while Stafford's great, Jaden Daniels with his we've talked about it many times with his legs.
Dude, his leg. I mean, he's been our leading rusher for 4 straight weeks. He had 125 yards 2 weeks ago.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You ever heard of a team sitting their rookie quarterback the last week because they wanted to rest him for the playoffs?
That doesn't happen very often.
Come
Yeah.
on. So just because of the momentum, and I'm going to pick the Commanders.
Well, obviously
I
we're
know
biased,
it's in
but
Rams,
hey, I agree. I think it could happen.
I mean, there's definitely a chance they lose that
Well,
game.
in any of these, the NFC really, well, all of these games do, but a lot of these matchups in the NFC really.
The NFC is not nearly as a
It's-
top-heavy division
no.
as the AFC.
It's so up in the
there's
air.
a lot more up in the air.
Yes. So I don't know, but
And
so
then my matchup is the Rams-Eagles. I think that's going to be an offensive shootout game, probably. I mean, both offenses have a lot of weapons, but I think Jalen Hurts, like you said, is probably going to be back, so that shouldn't matter. But I don't know. I think I'm kind of agreeing with you with the Rams. Like, if they play
That's
as
tough,
good
yeah.
to their
If they
potential,
can play to their potential,
Yes.
they're one of the best teams
Well,
in the
yes.
NFC.
and they're
but
only-
the thing is, they've only done that like once, maybe.
and once
twice
was
this
against the
year.
Bills,
Like,
and then the other time was there was another game where they played really well. I'm trying to think of when it was. Either way, they can. They've proven they can, but can they consistently?
well, and a lot of the
Can they get
struggles
through it?
with their season has
Had
been
been
with
injuries?
injuries early
Yeah.
on, and now they're fully healthy, playing as
So if they stay
really
healthy,
well,
that's true.
So if they stay on this track, I don't know. It could be
They could be
get
a
pretty
tough game,
dangerous.
yeah.
So I think I'm gonna pick the Rams over the Eagles.
There you go. I think I would pick that too in that matchup.
Yeah. So my matchup is Rams Buccaneers, and just like I said, these are the two teams that have the highest ceiling but the lowest floor, kind
they
of.
do. I mean, it could be
Yeah.
an awful 3-6. NFC Championship
It could be.
game. Like-
It could be anything. Like
It could
these,
be 50-40.
the
Yeah.
funny thing about that, and both these teams could make it here, or both these teams could lose in the wild
Yeah,
card
they
too.
could,
Like
yeah.
I could see it going anyway. This could be
Yeah.
a great pick or a terrible pick.
Yeah, that's why the NFC at this point is more, I feel, entertaining.
Yes.
Just because you don't know.
Yeah. I mean, with
I mean, I
the
feel like
AFC is more
yeah.
Ravens, Bills, Chiefs are the
Like you have a
three
couple
teams.
teams
Yeah.
at the top, but the NFC is just after the Lions, which you know is the powerhouse. You know they're probably the best team in the NFC. It's really kind of anybody's game.
Well, and again, with the Lions' injuries, that makes it even more.
Yeah, even more open.
Open,
Like, if
yeah.
the Lions were healthy, I think it'd be a no-brainer. I think almost everyone would be
Yeah.
saying the Lions are going to the Super Bowl. But
And by the way, I don't know if we did this in the preseason. I don't think we did. But if I were to make a preseason Super Bowl pick, I was going to pick Bills Lions. But obviously, I've gone away from that now because I did pick the Lions to lose.
Yeah.
Again, Rams Buccaneers. Man, this is another one that's
it's a
like
tough one.
I have no clue. Because let's see, what would be their if my picks were correct, which they're probably not going to be. It would be Rams would beat the Vikings, Lions, and the Buccaneers would beat the Commanders. And
I mean, the Rams. I mean, that the thing is, both of those are
That
like
is crazy.
two like good games.
Really good wins, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Really good wins. I guess as a Bills fan, oh, you know what? I think this would be a great game, but I think because as a Bills fan, I would want to play the Rams game because they're one of the teams that beat us, and I want to get revenge on them. I think.
well, and they're another team with Super Bowl. I mean, history. I mean,
Yes.
they just won a couple years
Yes.
ago.
And again, like I said, with the wild card matchup, Von Miller playing against his old team, the Rams, another team he won a Super Bowl with, a team that beat us in one of the best games of the season, by the way. I mean, that was another offensive explosion. I think Josh Allen had 6 touchdowns and lost in that game,
Yeah,
which is insane. But yeah, I think this if this was the NFC Championship, could be a great game. But I think I'm gonna go Rams in that case. So.
Yeah. And then
We got the same Super Bowl.
my
don't
my
we?
NFC Championship game is Lions Commanders, which we already
Talked about.
over
Yeah.
there, and it's the same thing. As much as I like my Commanders, I just don't think that our defense can stop their offense. I have no doubt that our offense can compete with their defense, but I just know our defense is not to that point yet where we can hold up a team like that. I mean, there is a chance. I mean, when you have a young team like we do, where it's mostly new people, I mean, you got a new head coach,
Yeah.
stuff like that, it's possible. But I've got to go the Lions. I just don't feel right. As much as I love my Commanders to make the Super
Yeah.
Bowl, I just don't think they're going to make it.
And
past
I
the
would not be
Lions.
surprised at all if the line. Obviously, I think they are the favorite going in.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the 1 seed, but
Like let's just put it
Yeah.
this way. I think the Commanders can be any team in the playoffs in the NFC. The Lions are going to be the one that I don't.
well, that's what makes
And that's
the
the thing.
NFC
I mean, 'cause they're-
interesting.
if they win, there's a really good shot that they play the Lions the first round
Yeah.
or the divisional round.
Yeah,
And then if they win, if they don't, then they're probably going to play them in the championship game.
yeah. That's the thing that's always interesting about the NFL playoffs too, is the way it's set up. You can.
Yeah, the high seed always
Yeah,
plays
yeah.
the lowest.
So
it's
never know.
different.
Well, the thing is too is if you look at the NFC, like every one of these teams, I could see.
I can see making it to the Super
Yes,
Bowl.
like literally,
Every single
they
one
can
of
beat.
them. The Vikings is the only one where I'm a little hesitant just because
Yeah.
I don't know. Sam Darnold.
But even
is
they've
questionable
had a
to me.
fantastic year. But again, I don't think the Rams is a great matchup for them.
No. No,
And
I would
even
agree.
then, but you never know. I mean, it's really going to be interesting. So Super Bowl,
Yeah.
even though we picked things differently,
Well,
we ended
yeah,
up with the same Super Bowl.
My matchup is the Lions Rams, like we talked with you in the second round.
Yeah, that was the divisional round
And
for me.
I had this written down before you wrote it too already. I had picked the Rams in this game too because
you guys have the
Yeah,
Rams Bills Super Bowl,
seriously.
huh?
And I already had it before you even said it, so I didn't go based off you. But yeah, I just feel like that's a good matchup for the Rams.
Yeah.
I feel like, as I've said before, the Rams they
I
have
mean,
a high
and
ceiling.
The thing is, they also have been there before
Yes,
and won.
they have
Yes.
experience.
They've won
Yes.
it. The Lions
They
were
haven't
there
been to a
last
Super
year.
Bowl
They
ever.
made it to the
Never
NFC
been to a Super
Championship.
Bowl.
Well, and like you said with
Never
Dan,
been to Super Bowl.
and like
No.
you said with Dan Campbell, I think his risk taking is gonna take a toll on them at some
Well,
point.
especially
It's gonna
playing
matter.
a coach like Sean
Yes.
McVay. I mean, he has
Yes.
experience. He's going to know what to do to try to bring that out of him to make him make a bad decision.
When again, in the last couple of years, the Rams, while they're not divisional opponents, have played the Lions. Excuse me, I couldn't spit that out. Rams and Lions have played each other several times, and also there's that familiarity with Sean McVay knows Jared Goff,
Yeah.
and
That's true.
and Matthew Stafford knows Detroit. So like, there's just that whole aspect
Yeah.
too.
I
But
don't know.
yeah,
I just feel like the Lions are gonna make some major mistake or something, and it's gonna be a
They're gonna
close
go
game.
for it on 4th and 3 from the
I
52
feel like yeah.
in the 4th quarter,
Yep.
and then the game's gonna be.
I feel like this is a game too that's gonna be
50
like
it'll probably be the 48.
in the
but
40s is for scoring.
50-yard line. Then
Oh
it goes
yeah,
down
there's
to
no
48.
52. Yeah,
I know what you
you
meant.
know
though.
what I meant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
48 on the other side.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
as soon as it goes to 50, it goes
Yeah,
back
no, it goes
again.
backwards. I don't know why.
But
that
anyway, yeah, I feel like this matchup.
I don't know. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah. I feel like
I
this.
guess because I think of field goals.
I know what
think
you.
of field
Yeah,
goals.
I know what
it's
you meant.
fine,
I knew
it's
what you
fine,
meant.
it's fine.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I feel like
It
this
would have
match-
been. It could be.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
I was gonna say, it could be a 52-yard field goal.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yes.
saying. Like they
I
could
see
have
what you're
gone for
saying.
that.
Okay,
Like,
I'm
yeah.
gonna
Said that
speak now.
Sorry.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. I'm just trying to get what he meant.
Anyway.
I feel like this matchup is gonna be a really high scoring game too. Like, could be in the 40s.
Yeah.
They're very good offensive teams, both of them. But
Well, look at we played them back-to-back weeks, and look at how it turned.
Exactly.
We both scored in the 40s.
Yeah.
and the Rams
Both
are
times.
very
And they did.
similar
Mhm.
as far as the Bills, where they have a lot of offensive weapons. So, yeah, but I'm gonna pick the Rams. So we have the same Super Bowl.
Well,
Rams,
my
and
Super
then
Bowl,
you got the
my Super
Ravens
Bowl
Lions.
is different. I'm completely different.
Yeah.
I have the Ravens Lions, and in that matchup, as much as I like the Lions, I think the Ravens win that. Their offense is just a powerhouse. I think this is the year that Lamar Jackson finally gets himself a title, and then people start talking about how he's one of the best quarterbacks ever because he's won 17 MVPs and has 10 bajillion yards.
Well,
I think
this is the
the MVP is going to be between Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen,
Yeah.
and unfortunately for Josh Allen, I
Well,
think Lamar Jackson's going
I
to win
think-
it. He's going to do 3-time
Well,
MVP
here's the
in
thing.
a row, and he's going to win the Super Bowl, and then people are finally
If-
going to realize that he's one of the best quarterbacks of all time.
even if Lamar doesn't win it, he's gonna finish top 2, and he's already got 2. The only thing that he's missing out is a good playoff
And
run.
if he makes
Yeah.
it and wins the Super Bowl, I think
That will
people start
solidify
to
it.
be
Yeah, I
like,
agree with
wow,
that.
maybe this guy's better.
I
than
agree with
Patrick
that.
Mahomes.
And as much as obviously I want my Bills to make it, like I think that would be a fun
Yeah.
matchup to watch. And I think too, as far as like it's the similar thing with Josh Allen. While he doesn't have an MVP, he could very well still win it
Yeah.
this year too. And if he makes a run,
Yeah, if he
It's
wins
gonna be the
Super
similar
Bowl,
thing,
the
like,
same
okay, this
thing.
guy is
Yeah,
actually
he's proving it. He's
now
not just
can
good
do it
in
in
the
the
regular
playoffs,
season,
yes.
He can do it in the playoffs.
so I think it's the
Yeah.
kind of the same thing for both Lamar and Josh. They're in a similar situation going into this
definitely
playoffs. But again, as a Bills fan, again, my pick is Bills Rams. I gotta go with the Bills. Again, the Rams beat us. This was,
That was a good
A
regular
fantastic
season
game.
matchup.
and I think again, I think it'll be another high scoring
Yeah.
game. Hopefully, our defense can. Honestly, if our defense would have just got one more stop that game, we would have
The
won.
thing is, like, just the amount of times that Josh Allen has just picked the whole Bills team up and
Yes.
carried them on his back
Yes.
to win games, and the Rams are definitely an opponent. He can do that
Yes,
too.
yes.
Like, I would be a little more scared if it was the Lions or even the Eagles, just
Yes.
because. But,
Actually,
but
I
playing
think-
the Rams, if that's the matchup, I'm going Bills every time, just because that is a team, like I said, where Josh Allen can
Yes,
beat the team
yes.
by himself.
And I think actually, if out of any of the teams in the NFC, the team that like would scare me the most as a Bills fan, if we match them in the Super Bowl,
it's
would be
the
the Eagles.
Eagles.
Yes,
Yeah.
would be
Just
the
'cause their
Eagles.
D-line.
And Saquon. You know, like I
Well,
said
Saquon
with
as well. Yeah,
and like I
Saquon's
said
gonna
with
run over you.
Derrick Henry with the Ravens. Yeah, Saquon
I
with
think
the
the
Eagles
biggest threat to the Bills is the Eagles
and the Ravens. I completely
Yeah.
agree. And so, which is crazy because the Chiefs have been a team that seems to knock us out, but like they just something about it.
Yeah,
they
you
don't
know
work.
we're wasting all our time doing. Chiefs
Yeah.
are probably gonna win.
So,
anyway,
oh yeah.
yeah.
But here's another thing. Like we talked about with the Rams not wanting to face the Commanders in that wild card because of Jaden Daniels' legs. Because when they played a mobile quarterback like Josh Allen,
Yeah.
like you were just saying, he ran all over them. And so I think that's going to be a difference. And if our defense can play just a little bit better than we did in our previous matchup, if this is the matchup, the Bills are going to get their first Super Bowl finally. Hopefully, please. I don't care who we
Well,
beat
if
as
it's
long
a,
as
if it's a lie, wait, what was the other team?
as long
that
as we
lost?
win.
If one of these teams, if they match up against the
'Cause
Bills,
we-
it's going to be both teams.
Well,
one team's going to win their first Super Bowl, and one
let's
team's
see.
going to lose their fifth
If the
Super Bowl.
if we match up with the Lions, Vikings,
Well, it's the Vikings. If they match up with the Vikings, One
Yeah,
team is
that's the
either
only
going to
two.
win their first Super Bowl or lose their fifth
Well,
Super Bowl.
yeah, no, because the Vikings and Bills both are 0-4 all time.
Yeah,
in the
so
Super
that's
Bowl.
the thing.
Yes.
They'll either win their first
Which
or
is-
lose their fifth.
Which is insane. And the Lions have never even made it to the Super Bowl.
No.
So,
So,
but yeah, that's some interesting things that could happen. But yeah, again, this is my prediction. But honestly, as a Bills fan, as long as I don't care who we play, as long as we can beat them, that's what I'm
No.
worried about. That's what I'm worried about. But we'll see. But I can't go away from my Bills. It's been too many years of close.
if we get a Bills Commanders match,
Oh my gosh.
we gotta like.
Oh my gosh.
If we beat you guys, you'd probably shoot me.
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far. But it would
Well,
take a
Weren't we your
wild
guys'
upheaval.
last loss in the Super Bowl too?
It was no. I think it
Or no,
was
because we were your second. to
yes
last.
because
You guys
we
made it
lost to the
92.
Giants
Yeah.
the first time. I think it was the
Or yeah,
Redskins
91
the
was the
second,
Redskins.
and then the Cowboys
Twice.
twice.
Mhm.
So
Ooh, that's rough. I'm sorry.
yeah,
But,
it was all AFC or NFC East teams that we lost to too,
Well,
which is
yeah.
crazy.
But yeah, I think we really stuck to the Ravens and Bills matchup. Whoever wins that game's
Yeah.
gonna win.
Yeah.
'Cause
Really?
Yeah,
we
'cause
all
I
agree.
picked the Ravens.
So
and you
really,
guys
the
both
Super
picked the
Bowl is
Bills.
Ravens Bills, guys.
Yeah, that's the actual Super
It's
Bowl.
a second week matchup.
Yeah.
That's the only game we care about.
The divisional game.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Buffalo's hosting the Super Bowl this year, guys.
Yeah.
No.
yeah. So yeah, the Bills Rams, same matchup as you. I feel like it really comes down to the defense because I feel like the Rams on defense will struggle more with the offense having not as many like number one weapons.
Yeah.
but
That's what
a
we've
lot
talked about
of
with
them.
Buffalo.
Like,
So much this year.
with
They
the
can spread
Rams,
the ball.
they
It's
have-
almost more of an advantage.
Yes.
They have more star power with Nakua and Cup.
But if we can
But
slow them down,
If you take them away, what really else do they
Yeah.
have?
and now,
Well, to be fair, teams typically only have 3 receivers
Yeah,
on the field
that's
anyway, so you're
Yeah,
like,
well,
true.
and
Well, I
while,
know what you're saying.
well, and
though.
here's the thing too. While we knew the ball was going to them last time we played, they still were making crazy
Yeah.
plays. So,
That too. So,
but if we just get one stop, I mean, in that game we would have beat them.
but
so,
yeah, I think it's going to be a really offensive
I
game.
mean, Nakua is
and-
a great receiver.
That is insane.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an
That's
offensive
amazing,
game. The offenses are going to score pretty much every possession, but it's going to come down to
Yeah.
one or
It's gonna
two
be a
like critical
Yeah, stop.
defensive
77 to
stops.
70.
That would be insane.
Highest
Imagine
scoring
that.
Super Bowl
And
ever.
because of
6
my-
overtime.
But what was it? Wasn't it 44-42 was the
Yeah.
score in the first matchup? Yeah.
So I think it's going to come down to a
70.
couple stops, and I think
Josh Allen's gonna have
10 touchdowns,
Yeah.
5 passing, 5
Yeah,
rushing.
no, 10 touchdowns. He's gonna or 10 touchdowns. He's gonna have 9 passing and 1 receiving.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
To
I mean,
himself.
it's
To himself. That's 2 touchdowns.
Yes.
it's happened before.
Yeah.
Anyways, but
Back to reality.
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's going to come down to 1 or 2 crucial defensive stops, and I think that
yeah.
goes to the Bills' favor. So
Yeah, no, I would
Well,
definitely.
and I'm Buffalo biased, like
Yeah.
you
said,
Well,
but-
in that matchup, though, I'm definitely taking the Bills every
yeah,
time.
so
Well, and I guess, yeah, so I got Bills, Rams, and you did too, but
So, just to
Ravens,
recap,
Lions,
I've got the
Ravens.
Ravens winning over
we got the Bills,
Lions.
shocker.
Nah.
But the thing with the NFL playoffs and what makes it always exciting and stressful as a fan is like it's one and done. You never know what's going to
Yeah.
happen, and
You don't-
that's why the NFL and football.
I mean, look,
is
I
so-
picked the
so crazy.
Ravens, but the Ravens played the Steelers round 1, and that's the team that they struggle against.
Yes,
the most.
yeah,
Fans are
exactly.
Really, really
You never-
scared to lose
you-
that game.
Again, I think the
The
Broncos
Broncos have been
could be an
playing
interesting
great.
match for
Yeah,
us. Like,
the Broncos win the Super Bowl.
That would be
Goodness gracious.
insane.
I would
You
cry
never know.
if they win with their rookie.
but like, look at even the NFC. We talked about how it's very
Yeah, you never
unpredictable.
yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I mean, even like we talked about, the MVP is still up in the
yeah, it's
like.
still up in the air.
I mean,
Like,
that's been such a debate.
It's probably. I think it's 3 people, but really 2 because
Well,
yeah.
like we said too, though, with Lamar and the Ravens winning,
We
and
know
us
these guys are
winning,
great regular season
Josh and the
quarterbacks.
Bills winning. It's
Like the biggest thing is,
They gotta have.
can they
prove
get the
that
Super
playoff.
Bowl and
yeah.
have the playoff run? So and the Chiefs have been. The funny thing, like I said about the Chiefs earlier too, like the Chiefs have been both us and the Ravens' biggest or hardest competition to
Yeah.
get through to get to the Super Bowl. Like the Chiefs, while they have like the best record in the Patrick Mahomes era this year, they still don't look.
Yeah, they don't look
Dominant.
good. This is the worst
Which
looking
is-
team they've
which
had.
is
It's their
insane.
best
and it's like,
record.
Yes.
yeah, I
Makes
know.
no sense.
No. So who knows what's gonna happen?
But-
yeah,
Anyway, final recap again. I have Ravens winning.
and we both have the Bills,
Yeah,
obviously,
Bills.
but it'll be a fun playoffs, and we'll see you guys. I'm not sure if we're gonna do a video next week, but sometime probably before the Super Bowl, we'll make a video,
figure something out.
kind of make a recap of some of the games. But
whatever it is,
we'll see you guys then.